Hey, welcome to Dope Car Tech. So I've been daily driving this Mercedes-Benz EQE for a couple of days now, and the first question I asked when I first picked up this car was, what demographic is this car for? Or who is willing to pay the premium price for this car? In this video, I'm going to be delving into the nuances that makes this car such a great electric car from Mercedes in terms of luxury, technology, and range. If that sounds interesting, then let's get started. Just a second. Let me bore you with some quick stats on the Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV. So there's the entry-level version of this car, which is the EQE 350 Plus, and it comes with a single rear motor drive, which gives you 290 horsepower. There's also the 350 Formatic, which has two motors, one in front and one in back, to give you four-wheel drive, but the same horsepower of 290 horsepower. The EQE 350 starts at about 75,000 US dollars. This EQE SUV I have here is the EQE 500 Formatic. It comes standard with two motors, one at the front and one at the back, combining to give you 402 horsepower and about 815 Newton meters of torque. This car will do a 0-60 time, as Mercedes claimed, in 4.2 seconds and a top speed of about 250 kilometers per hour. And it gives you a range of about 330 miles or 540 kilometers, which is quite a lot of range in this car. But then, speaking about range, I'll be doing a separate video on the range test for this car, so please be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share. How about the price? This AMG premium line I have here starts at about 1 million Swedish crowns. So let's talk numbers in terms of battery and in terms of charging. Now, this car is equipped with a 96 kilowatt hour battery capacity with a 90 kilowatt hour of usable battery capacity. This car is built on a 400 volt battery architecture, which means you can charge this car with a DC fast charging of 170 kilowatts from 0 to 80% in about 32 minutes. You can also use a home charger, which charges at 11 kilowatts, or you can upgrade that home charger to 22 kilowatts, which can charge at 9 hours or 5 hours respectively. In terms of DC fast charging, I think the charging capacity of this car can be better. And at this price point, I think it should be better. This car has been designed to be as slippery as possible, giving it a drag coefficient of 0.25 CD. You also have these 20-inch aero wheels. The aero wheels are to give the car more efficiency and to reduce drag, and then to improve your range and all that. The wheels can be upgraded to 22-inch AMG wheels. In front here, you have these air ducts that smooths airflow over the side of this car. And then you have this AMG digital matrix LED lights, which are really, really bright at night. And while I was using this car, I was really impressed on how good these headlights are. And they have 1.3 million pixels just in one headlight. Don't know how much that's going to cost when it breaks though. Moving over here, you have an LED light bar. And something I love, even though it's an electric car, Mercedes are, still trying to be Mercedes and want to be stylish enough. So instead of you having a traditional front grille, you have your big Mercedes star here, and then you have tiny stars just embossed into the front grille of this car. Really nice way of designing a front grille, even though you don't really need a front grille in an electric car. You have another air duct under here, which feeds air to cool the batteries when they get really hot. And then in front of this car, there's something I have always complained about German cars. And it's here also in this Mercedes-Benz. You would think for an electric car, for example, Tesla, the Tesla Model X, Y, and S, 3, they all have a front trunk. But in this Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV, or in fact, in Mercedes EQE lineup or EQ lineup, you don't have a front trunk. With the huge size of this car, you can't even open up this panel. Why, Mercedes? Like, why the Germans? Why the Germans don't like giving us front trunk? Same thing in the BMW iX. Same in the Volkswagen's lineup of ID cars. No front trunk. Can I get an answer that someone knows why the Germans don't like putting the front trunks or giving us front trunks? Leave that in the comment box below. I mean, like I said, there's no hood on the front of this car, which I'm particularly not a fan of. But Mercedes have developed a really nice solution when you want to put in your wiper washer fluid. On the side of this car, you can see to put in your wiper washer fluid is this port here. It kind of looks like a charging port, but it's not. You push it open when the car is unlocked, of course, and this is where you pour in your wiper washer fluid. Well, it's kind of an unconventional way of putting a wiper washer fluid. All said and done, exterior of this car, not really a fan, but then I'm really a fan of the inside of this car. It's really posh in the inside of this car. So let's hop in and see the interior of this car. Nice welcome sound, by the way, getting into the interior of this car. And really great feeling interior and the material quality of this car. The dash, you have this LED light. It's probably hard to see because of the sun, but you have this LED light which runs across the whole dash of this car, and then integrated vents. You have 12.8-inch screen here, which comes a standard with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And then you have this 12.3-inch driver's display. I really love this AMG Sport steering wheel with flat bottom. On the steering wheel, you have haptic controls for the steering wheel. On the left side of the steering wheel, you have two separate, controls. On the right side, you have two separate controls. So in total, you have four separate controls or four separate panels on the steering wheel of this car. On the top left, you use for controlling this 12.3-inch instrument cluster. You can use it to change the different views by clicking the home button and swiping through all the different configurations or screen menus, which is really good. Nice graphics. I particularly love two customizations of this gauge cluster. I love the navigation screen, and I also love the sports screen, which is really really cool, especially when I'm driving this car in sports mode. So, talking about this 12.8-inch screen, it's one of those Mercedes-Benz does an incredible job on their infotainment screen. You can see how responsive it is. You can even see it has the graphics of the water just right in front of us, even though it's a little bit frozen. But then you can see how it even shows the water moving. That's really nice. At the bottom of the screen here, on the screen, you have your climate control settings. They are fixed. They are good. They respond really fast. You can turn on the heating, increase your volume, increase the temperature, and control all the heating settings of this car, which is really, really good. You can also go into your EQ menu apart from using the button at the bottom of the screen here. You can go to your EQ menu and you can see the consumption. You can see the charging, you can see the range. And something to noteworthy about this system is if you go to the range, it shows you how much range is left, and it also shows you what other car functions are stealing range from your are stealing range from your electric battery. So if you want to maximize range, a touch of this button would put everything and tailor it in such a way that you get as much range from the battery as possible, which is really, really good. It's good to have that feature here. On the bottom section of this screen, you have some physical controls which you can control. The first button here is the dynamic button where you can switch between um, off-road mode. I don't know who is ever going to take this car for off-roading. I never would advise anyone to take this car for off-roading. It's not a true off-roader, but it's there. You have your eco mode, you have your comfort, sports, and individual. And then you have this button here for the 360-degree camera. Of course, it's a really, really brilliant camera screen. On the button here, you have where you can, set your driver functions and on and off button here, and you have kind of a slider for your radio settings. You just slide to increase your button. I would have loved a rotary dial, but it's good that it's really fast. It really responds really, really fast. I love that. And suffice to say, this is where Mercedes blows the competition out of the water in terms of interior and build and design. But this is an aesthetically pleasing interior. I really, really love how nice this interior feels. The quality in general is top notch. I like this wood finish on the dash of this interior. In terms of storage, you have a deep storage pocket here with two USB Type C right inside here. And also in here, you have two cup holders. You can also remove the cup holders for more space. You have two more USB Type C inside here, and you have a wireless charging port here. And on this space down here, you also have two USB ports right on this storage space down here, and a strap so you can hook things up so they don't move around while you drive. Speaking about driving, we'll be driving the Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV in just a few. All right, driving the Mercedes-Benz EQE 500. Formatic. Straight off the bat, first thing you get to notice about this car is how quiet and luxurious it is. I drive a Mercedes Benz CLA, and in my mind, I always felt like, oh, that car is quite a quiet car, is quite refined. But first time I stepped into this car just takes it to an insane amount. It's not S class luxury, but it's a really, really luxurious car. It's a very, very quiet car. And in fact, one of the things that Mercedes Benz have put together to make this car a really quiet and luxurious car is the window. This window is a double glazed window. The amount of sereneness you get while driving this car is insane. It's a really, really quiet and luxurious car. This car is on pneumatic air suspension as standard. All EQE 500 models are equipped with pneumatic air suspensions as standard, and it just evens out bumps and imperfections on the road. It just glides over bumps, imperfections so well. I mean, it controls the weight of this car, and it makes it really nice, especially when you are driving the car in comfort mode. You can switch that mode easily. Right now, we can go back to eco mode, or I can put the car in comfort mode, which is its most comfortable settings. And even going through bends, yes, it's a heavy car, but then it's kind of in a controlled manner. Even though I know if you try to push this car, or if you try to drive this car like a sports car, then you're going to feel the weight. Of course, physics would always play. But then quietness, luxury, comfort in this car, it's really quiet, hard to notice any noise going on from the outside. It's calm, refined, a good level of quietness and luxury. That's what you get for this car. It's one of those things that comes with the premium price of this car. It's also an easy car to drive, especially when if you have the adaptive cruise control turned on. Currently, I'm driving and the car is adapting to the speed limit by itself, so I don't have to worry that I'm going over the speed limit, which is a really important thing, especially if you live in Sweden. The car would also notice if I'm approaching a roundabout, and it will slow itself down and adapt to a very considerable speed so that I could take the roundabout quite well. All these things it does really well. And then it's a really fast car. 402 horsepower, 800 newton meters of torque. Wow, I mean, look at that. Just, yeah. Whoa. Okay. This car really flies. It really flies. I mean, instant electric power and torque. It just comes in instantly. I mean, and you have this electric sound it makes. While if you accelerate, I could actually switch that off, or I could change that. But then, and I love the graphics. Oh, this car flies. I mean, coming from other electric cars that I've driven, and a car of this size, it's quite a fast car to drive. So it's fast, it's comfortable, it does all the luxury things well, which of course you expect from Mercedes. But then the Achilles heel to this car for me is the price. The AMG 500 I have here, Formatic, starts at about $95,000. You would consider having to spend such amount of money on this car, and then it doesn't do everything well in terms of what a Mercedes is. For example, the design. I'm not really a fan of the design of this car. There are better looking Mercedes cars, especially the combustion equivalent of this car, which is the Mercedes Benz GLE. That car is quite cheaper. It looks really, really good. This doesn't, in terms of great looking electric cars, I wouldn't rank this one as one of those cars. Well, because of it being designed for aerodynamic purposes and all that, yes. One thing worth mentioning is about Mercedes, nomenclature for their electric cars. If you've been watching this channel, I have reviewed the Mercedes-Benz EQE, which is the EQE Saloon. That one is just called the EQE. And then you have the EQE SUV. Kind of confusing. Just like you have the EQS Saloon, and then you have the EQS SUV. I honestly think that's a confusing way of, Mercedes-Benz nomenclature on their cars. Of course, it's a big and heavy car. I would almost not, or I almost never would recommend this car to be driven in sports mode. Why? Doesn't make sense. Or off-road mode. This car, in any way, I don't think buyers of this car would take this car off-roading. But then in the screen here, when you click on the dynamic settings, you have an off-road setting or you have an off-road configuration. I don't think that setting is going to everly be used in this car. Not at all. Not at all. So after this full review, here are my concluding thoughts on this Mercedes-Benz EQE 500, and I'll go back to the first question I asked: who is this car for, or who is willing to pay the premium price for this car? First of all, is this car a premium car? Yes, it is. Does it worth the price? Well, it depends on what you want from a Mercedes, because it's fast, it's luxurious, it's nice, it's posh, everything Mercedes-Benz have put to make this car a genuinely cohesive piece of technology. And that's what I really appreciate from this car. If you're coming from an internal combustion mid-size SUV from Mercedes, and you still want the Porsche of an SUV, and you still want the luxury that this car gives, and you have a deep pocket, then I would say that this car is your best bet. Go for it. Absolutely. It's a really incredible car. What do you guys think about my conclusion? Leave in the comment box below. But until then, thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to this channel, like, and share. And leave your comments in the comment box below. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.